This is Bam Electric Ghost. We're live on the air with Brian Beck, and you are the chief operating officer, or you created your cybersecurity organization, Proxurve and Solutions. And I want to thank you and welcome you to the Bam Electric Ghost podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. But just so that we're all on the same page, I'm the dangerous guy out front doing the consulting work. So I'd be the senior consultant here who's helped to grow the organization. That's been my main focus, and we've done a fairly decent job, I would say.
Oh, cool. You're the senior consultant. Sorry. Yeah, so we're going to talk to you about what your company does and maybe like some of your backstory and about what you're trying to bring the solutions to the industry and to the business world and people who are creative. Or there's a lot of creative people who have businesses and they probably need protection or need to understand how to use the tools we have today, because a lot of people, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of truth, and there's stuff in between. So let's figure out what's going on. So one of the things I go before we get to the heart of your story, I ask every guest a couple questions. What motivates you? Why do you do what you do?
Motivation, honestly, is I love education and I love the challenges, but I also love being able to do this stuff so that my family can benefit from it, right? So serving others before myself has always worked very well for me and my family. So that's my biggest motivation that I've got.
That's pretty cool. We always want to see people who like kind of pay it forward and actually have a like a vision of why they do what they do. And let people know we put the QR code for Proxurve up there. So if you want to check that out while we're talking, it's out there so you can check it. And then, yeah, well, that's something we've been doing lately. We think it's pretty cool. It helps people kind of follow along. So if you kind of give the kind of high, maybe the elevator pitch of what cybersecurity concepts are or what they mean in the world of AI now.
Yeah, well, when you frame it that way around AI, because obviously it's continuing to evolve, right? And cybersecurity has always been the preventative measures to be able to try to help organizations keep their data and their clients safe. The thing that I try to do is align with the business leaders so that we understand what their business goals are and make sure that their technology is going to be able to help support them reach those business goals. So it's, most IT is about plug the hole. And hey, that looks broken, and now I'm going to react to it, and I'm going to fix it. Our goal is to be able to go in there, truly understand what the business goals are for the business owner, the business leader, the leadership, the C-suite within the group. Or if it's a venture capitalist group, then work with a venture capitalist to be able to say, where do you want to grow this organization? What are the timelines? How do we need to be able to get there? And then design the technology ecosystem to be able to help support that, as well as develop transformational tools that, around AI that says, hey, these workflows can be automated. These workflows can be created to be able to support an organization with a growth pattern that looks like X without disrupting the culture of the organization. That's the biggest thing, right? It's not about people replacement. It's about complementing your people and being able to maintain. Critical thinking is huge, and that's where a lot of the wealth of the organization comes from, right? It's the unique culture that organizations and leadership designs and builds and then delivers to clients. So let's help you do that.
Yeah, I think some folks don't understand AI. I'm a business system analyst. I've been in technology, data analytics for financial services for since the 90s.
Oof. So there we go.
I'm at 58, but I've been working since the 90s from COBOL to now. But one of the things that people don't seem to understand is AI is a predictive solution. It's it doesn't know really anything other than predictive mathematical algorithms to figure out what it's doing. So it's not a PhD. It's not the same as your subject matter expert. And if you think it is, I think you're making a mistake, because if you think you can get rid of your key person dependencies, no, you could align people, you can train people, you can mentor people, you can bring in a new class of people that can maybe supplement that person's knowledge and transfer it to this AI tool that assists them, but never fully replace the critical thinking of a human being, because the human brain is still more powerful than any computer on the planet.
Yep, and runs on less power.
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, it's another thing. I mean, we're gonna end up with, like, organic computers eventually because of the power usage issues, but I
Eh,
think we're gonna have to go looking for that solution, but, um, I think it's interesting, when people try to figure out, like, it's like the shiny object, It's like,
Yes.
"Hey, everybody's gotta use it," and a lot of times I've looked at, like, a lot of engineers or
Mhm.
tech people, we can use it to supplement us, as a system analyst, business system analyst, I can go and blue sky an idea and do a proof of concept all by myself with AI,
Yeah. Hmm.
where I would have had to have a programmer and then they wouldn't give me one, so then I can't do it. Right now, I
Right.
can blue sky things on my own and present them. That is
Mhm.
like levels you up. Like
Right.
that could make you have like a micro company. You could like micro create services with a far smaller group of people
Hmm.
and resources, and that's where I think the future lies is in people taking that tool and then figuring out like, well, okay, well, how do I handle cybersecurity? I don't know that.
Hmm.
Maybe I go to somebody like you because I know engineering, but I don't know that.
Right. Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
you gotta know what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's part of the whole thing, right? And AI is another thing that helps you define what you don't know. So where are the gaps in either process or critical knowledge or anything cultural within the organization? And what we try to coach people towards is that it's not about getting an immediate return. If you're looking for an immediate return, this isn't it, right? This ain't it. And firing your people, I mean, if you've read the news lately,
You hire a lot of them back.
legitimate news lately, I would say there's all kinds of news outlets that are out there, right? But legitimate news sources, they're talking about how Ford had to hire people back,
Yeah,
right?
300 like quality engineers, which I was
Quality
very
engineers
interested.
because they realized, oh, hey, wait a minute. Oh, this can't replace our people. And that's never been the intent of the tool. Although that was the hype in the beginning, it was
Like how they
get
were
rid of the
selling it,
people.
maybe. I think they were selling it that way,
Oh,
or
yeah.
maybe they were acting. They say they weren't selling it that way, and then they seem like wink, wink. We are selling it that way.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's always been a complementary tool. The challenge that winds up coming from it, and you know this probably better than a lot of people because of how you're already talking about it and you're using it, is that if you don't have a solid foundation underneath it, and that's
Yeah.
where, right, we come in. I tell a lot of people just when they're like, Brian, explain to me what you do. Look, think about this. I'm the concrete guy, right?
Mhm.
You lay down concrete, you put down that foundation. I come in and figure out where your foundation is broken, where it's cracked, where it's weak.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do we have the right foundation to be able to build our organization and scale it on top of? When you got the right foundation in, you can scale and you can build the most beautiful buildings that are available to you. But without that foundation, they're going to crack, they're going to crumble, you're going to have all kinds of repairs, you're going to have water leaks, you're going to have stuff that's going to exploit that building, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah, I mean,
pest
if you
growth, all that.
if you're doing structural change, like in
Yeah.
Manhattan, and you don't know
Oh,
what the load-bearing things are,
oh, you're
and
pulling
then
that in already from
yeah,
today.
yeah,
Yeah,
you add 3 more floors without understanding, like, the engineering calculations for that.
exactly. Yeah. And
Maybe AI told you this, but, like,
yes,
somebody that actually knows the job
yeah,
from, like, 30
exactly.
years would tell you, like, "You can't do that."
Exactly. So if you set that foundation, then you structure your data correctly and you get the metadata in there so it's got context and you structure the tenant correctly so that it understands your people, your organization, your process, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to be able to achieve it. Now your prompt engineering and your critical thinking starts to really shine, right? Because
Mhm.
it enables and complements your people with the skills and they get closer or quicker to the root of whatever they are trying to be able to
Yeah,
work
root
on
cause
and solve.
analysis. I mean, a lot of what you
Yeah.
do, I'm a liberal arts major when, I'm a Bowdoin guy, but, uh, the idea was that you learn about what you don't know. You
Uh-huh.
don't realize that you have to constantly learn, right? And you challenge yourself to not just be within what the algorithm gives you,
Right.
but what the algorithm doesn't give you,
Yep.
and what the other person might be saying, and then figure out, well, maybe there's something I can learn from that,
Mhm.
right? And just because I might not be the best at this, but maybe I can learn from this other person that is,
Mhm.
instead of just trying to tear them down. It's like
Yep.
there's this idea, like maybe you should try to learn and make it a
Learning,
yeah,
that
it's
takes
a
time and
lifelong
effort.
it's a lifelong thing, and there's no quick fix. I mean, everybody's always selling the
Right.
quick fix,
Mhm.
but it's like really, like you do the quick fix, it tends to like come out pretty bad.
Oh, yes, it will come back and bite you. That's for sure. You just don't know how bad that bite's going to be and how long it's going to take to recover from it. But yeah, I mean, that's for us, that's about AI, right? The AI solution. Lay down that foundation, understand what you've got, understand where the gaps are. Let's build around that. And you have to upskill your people. And then once you understand how that culturally is going to affect your organization and the teams that you're trying to be able to do, you also have to understand from a leadership standpoint, how's this going to affect my leadership style and how
Mhm.
I communicate with my people and reset expectations for what they can now produce because of this tool and all these speculative numbers that are always out there. I don't know. I'm sure you see them.
Yeah, I see.
50% productivity growth that's going to
Well,
wind
I
up
like to
coming from this thing.
understand like the companies themselves that say that
Hmm.
are not profitable.
Oh, you
So
caught on to that, have you?
yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
they'll kind of like a little like they're all selling to each other,
Uh-huh.
right? So how is that? Like you're not really making a profit when you sell Nvidia selling to Oracle and Oracle selling to them, and everybody's going back and forth. It's all kind of insular. I'm like, okay, well, show me what your profit loss is,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, I'm in financial service. I'm in banks, insurance companies. We look for like we want to know we have real assets
Hmm.
to be able to pay the claims, right?
Right.
To be able to do. We don't have like
Yeah.
crypto assets. We,
Uh-huh.
we don't have like vaporware access. We want to have something real,
Hmm.
and some of these people are kind of putting out a lot of vapor.
Oh
So
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those things when we walk in and we have the conversation, it's you got to define how you're doing what you're doing and define how big the gaps are going to wind up being so that you can start to set a realistic target. So is productivity going to increase by 5, 7, 12, 15%? Maybe, depending on that particular team. Are you ever going to hit the 50? Maybe, but it also depends on maturity of the model and adoption rates that are going to wind up coming into this. And by the way, that's not going to happen year one
no, I mean,
unless you some kind of stroke of magical genius comes out of the sky. That's not going to happen.
well, it
So
might
let's
happen if
project
you
that
look.
out.
Well, like you kind of get these people like, well, I'll just knock out, you know, like 30, 40% of my workforce,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
then think I'm going to get all this productivity from the compute. But guess what? Your compute cost is more than your workforce cost.
Yeah.
And your compute cost hasn't shown that you actually made any real moves in the amount of money you spent, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you have to have the business case or the use case to prove to me
Hmm.
what you're actually doing. Like, have you increased your efficiency by 30%? Have you increased people actually click through, buy the thing, buy the
Hmm.
service? Are they actually doing it?
Hmm.
Are you making your cost to actually build it less? So you're more profit. What have you shown that you can do? Like some processes you can immediately see through automation, efficiencies. You can pick up, oh, I'm using less energy. I'm doing it faster. I can make more product. But you got to show me the numbers.
Yeah.
Show me the numbers.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, I had 4 conversations last week alone that I can think of off the top of my head where they called into the firm and they literally said, Brian, I need AI. And I said, okay, to do what? And as soon as you say that to do what, if you're face to face with them, you see the look start to come into the eyes there. Or if you're on the phone, you get the something. It's like, no. I mean, it's
It's not the
something.
magic bullet. I mean, you got to find the business case. Like, have your guys find the case.
Exactly.
Right.
Identify the goal. What am I trying to solve for? And then just like Stephen Covey back in the day, begin with the end in mind. So I'm trying to solve for what? And by the way, leadership's got to be involved in this thing. And I usually try to tell people, and anybody going out there who's going to be making t-shirts on this, I've already got it coined. So there you go. But
Yeah.
AI is not an IT challenge to solve. It's a leadership strategy to implement. So leadership's got to be involved. They've got to identify the business goals that they're going for. And if you're not going to do that, how do you measure the potential success that you're going to wind up having over what term, over what team, to be able to produce what result? And to your point, show me the numbers. How's
Yeah.
that stuff all going to work out?
And you have to understand the risk of these large learning, machine libraries.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
These
have patents.
LLMs, man.
Well, you have patents, right? You have
Hmm.
copyrights, right? You
Hmm.
have processes.
Hmm.
if you don't watch what you're doing, you're gonna give your secret sauce to
Yeah.
the AI company, and then they're gonna rebuild it for somebody else.
And you got to have the correct licensing, man, to be
You
able
gotta
to do
know
that and configure those things.
you
It's
gotta
not
know what you're
just
doing.
download, press a button, and off I go. It doesn't
'Cause you
work that
don't
way.
want it grabbing your source code and then send it through the web into the ether,
Yeah, that would be bad.
or locking it up and then saying it doesn't know it did it,
Mhm.
and then deleting it, which has happened.
It
So
Yes, improvements have been made since those stories came out, but yes, I acknowledge they did happen. You hear about them in the news, and that usually also comes from the people that just don't know what they're
doing.
what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, what am I handling, and how do I do this correctly? They don't know. They're pressing buttons. They're getting excited. They're caught up in the hype. Their buddy told them to do this, whatever that happens to be. Use this. Download this agent, and then
Yeah, you really just have to understand, like, yeah, you get your lawyers. I mean, nobody wants to bring the lawyers in. I mean, but a lot of times, my brother's a lawyer, so he's always
ah,
pushing it. But the
uh-huh,
idea is like you really do need to understand actually what environment you're in. You're in a business environment.
uh-huh,
Like you like you guys, every company has their secret sauce, right?
yeah,
Everybody has their non-competes, they have their protective thing, their non-disclosures, like the stuff that you have. The problem is this is kind of like, I'm a musician, but I kind of go back in the day, right? When the samplers showed up,
uh-huh,
nobody knew they were going to steal the music, right?
uh-huh,
The technology got ahead of the actual licensing.
mhm,
So people were able to do stuff that was way beyond what the law said you could do, right? And then the law
yeah,
caught up and said, "No, you gotta clear the sample." And then
mhm,
suddenly you had to pay for it or you got taken down.
mhm,
AI, and to me, in a lot of cases, it's like that. There's a lot of stuff that's gonna get taken down. There's a lot of
mhm.
stuff that you're gonna end up having to pay because it allows you to break through a lot of rules, a lot of laws that you don't even realize that you're doing.
Well, they're still trying to catch up with the cybersecurity laws, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
they're
mean,
way I mean,
s-
compared to the EU, I mean, if you look at the
s-
EU, what the
oof.
EU has, but HBS,
Oh
all
yeah,
that's non-competitive. But the fact is there's certain things that you probably wanna protect.
oh yeah. Well, yeah, but depending on how I was going to say depending on how the cyber law is written, but most cyber laws are not written yet. They're all conceptual and discussed and debated and all this fun stuff. So then you layer AI on top of it. Well, hold on a minute. We're still trying to govern Facebook.
Yeah. You still
We,
trying to govern, like, do you own like, if you're an artist, do
Mm,
I own my voice, right? Do I
yeah.
own that well, I supposedly own the song that I actually licensed, right? That I actually have BMI record and I master it's mine. I'm the
Hmm.
songwriter, I got a record showing I am.
Hmm.
But, like, the language model happened to train on it, can my label let them do it? Then it
Hmm.
shows up on like one of these apps.
Yeah.
It shows up and they're not paying me,
Hmm.
right? So what are you doing?
Exactly.
Because like,
Exactly.
because that's what's going on.
Yeah. So wait, you were a musician,
Yeah.
as musician. So what did you play back in the day? And you'll
Well, I
see where
still
I'm going to
play.
go with
I
this.
still play. I got my
Oh
synths
yeah,
behind me.
you got
I'm
your
a
synths. Okay,
yeah,
so you
I'm a keyboardist, pianist, synthesist, sound
ah,
designer.
there you go. Okay, so that was back in the day. I went to Chicago Music College for a while, and we were required to take piano. My nemesis. I cannot for the life of me.
You can't
I
do the
can't.
keys.
I just can't do it. But bass player, so played for a number of years, bass player, I did all kinds of cool stuff and I got to be able to travel around and meet some cool people. The thing that I didn't realize during the music career that I had, which was right during the day, I've been in technology since I was 15. I mean, I didn't even have my driver's license yet, and I was already working on laser printers and
Mhm.
Windows NT and Windows NT 4.0 and all that kind of fun stuff back in the day. I mean, I've been around for the whole thing, right? The internet didn't even exist. It was ICQ back in the day.
Oh, I
Like,
remember the green screens,
there you go. Yeah, DOS
3270s on the
622,
COBOL,
man. DOS
machine
622.
language.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I grew up in all that. So I got to grow up and see this old generation and all the things that it's evolving into and continuing to evolve, which for me is fun. It's a continuing challenge, right? I can't get bored because it never stops.
Well, it never
So
stops. No.
yeah, I mean, every once in a while, I do have to admit I hit a day where I'm like, come on, it's Monday. Can we just not? But And then you come back to it later in the afternoon, you have like a Monster or a Ghost energy drink or whatever, and you're like, boom, I'm back in it. But the music thing, what I didn't realize over the years, what I was learning was communication skills.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea, right? All the different people that I would meet on any given night. Sometimes you're playing to literally the bartender and the sound guy. And then other nights, I'm playing in front of a few thousand people, depending where we were at and what we were doing. And you always had to meet people, and you always had to be able to be ready to communicate in different ways, different styles, different music, different people that
It's
you were
all
talking
frequency.
to, right?
It's a frequency, and the cool thing about being a musician compared to other artists is immediate feedback. Like if you're a stage actor and you're doing Broadway, off Broadway, you get immediate feedback. A musician in front of a crowd, you get immediate feedback.
Yep.
When you're in the studio, it's less so. Then you have to
Very
kind of
true.
think about like, oh, you talk to your engineer, your producers, and the best of their band. And you're like, are we hitting it or are we not hitting it? You might think you're hitting it. You come back, if you look at it the next day, say, oh, we didn't hit it. But but immediately when you're on stage, you get that immediate back and forth. You feel the room, depending on what kind of room, what kind of stage you're on. You're picking up the nonverbal and the verbal, the scent, everything. It's like synesthesia. It's like, that's why musicians, we love it. It's because it's like, it's that passion of being in the moment and being able to like have that like synergy between your instrument, like whether your instrument's your voice or you playing an instrument itself, and then how you interact with the bands, like playing on a sports team. Like when you're with a really tight band and you're really into it, it all works. It's like you can use the sports analogy. You can use I use the music analogy like a lot of people use sports. I always try to say that you can use that across any industry. The teamwork involved in a really tight band is the teamwork you need in that startup.
Well, yeah. And being right, I like to joke with people. I was the bass player. So AI for me is perfect. Don't tell me to go write a song. Tell me, Brian, we need to be able to do this. And then the creative juices kick in, right? The bass player in me goes, oh, I got something to work with. Now I've got ideas, and now I can start bringing the band together, right?
Yeah, like you and the drummer. Yeah, the drummer is always like, and the bass player always kind of sync up.
Yeah, and we got to be the guys who are bringing the rhythm together along with the melody, right? So we've got to be able to merge all these different aspects of the music that's coming together, the guitars, the vocals, all that stuff. We got to be able to bridge that and bring it together.
Like you're talking about foundation. You're at that's a foundational thing,
AI, same thing. But I had no idea, because sometimes I would show up at a show and I played jazz, I played metal, I played new age, I played all kinds of different stuff. And that was also fun. Classic rock, all those things, different crowds, different people, different stuff, different field, different vibes for the night, right? Different basses I got to play for the evening, different tones, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. It's all cool.
Oh, I love that stuff. But I had so many times I would walk into a room and the scariest looking people were the nicest people.
Oh, I found that. I went to New York one time, and I'm an experimental, musician. There were all these like real hardcore hip hop guys. And I didn't know if they were going to be into like an experimental electronic, because we're kind of like, we got that like Kraftwerk Berlin weirdness. And these guys are kind of hardcore, and they're like, what the hell is this guy with all these synths? What the hell is he doing? And it's like, and then I was so surprised because they had this like really tough guy image, and they came up to me and they were asking me questions about my Moogs and my Rolands. They were asking me like what I was doing. And so it was like, whoa, you guys are putting on an act, because when they had this bravado and this kind of like look, that you couldn't talk to them, right? But when when they backstage, when everybody's setting up, they were asking me all these questions like, well, you guys are musicians, right? You guys are asking me the kind of right kind of questions. And I was like, wow, I didn't need to be intimidated.
It was, I tell you, I got to meet and I'm not going to use names, but I played a metal fest one particular year, and we opened for this particular band that was also in one of my favorite movies, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. That's the only reference I'll make. And those guys came up, and they were huge. And as far as bass players go, I would be on the small side of bass player. I'm 5'11", right? 205, 210, depending on the week. And these guys are monsters. I'm looking up there, 6'4", whatever. They got beards like down to here. They look like they haven't had a shower for a month. I don't know how moms raised them, kind of thing, right? And they were the most articulate, nicest spoken guys I have ever met in my lifetime, and I
There's a
will
lot
never
of
forget
stage
it.
presence. There's a lot of stage self
Oh man.
going on.
But as soon as they got on the stage, man, that personality that came
Yeah,
out,
well,
right? It
that's
was
their
like,
whole.
oh, there they are.
Well, that's the thing is
Right.
like everybody's got to have their little thing, their little
Yeah.
niche. You know,
Yeah.
like Hendrix was the wild man, but he's freaking the most polite, shy guy you'd ever meet.
Oh,
Very soft spoken. You can hardly, people that talk to him, it's like you can barely like figure away. He's not the wild guy he was, right? On
right.
stage, they were wild.
Mhm.
You'd see that with guys like Prince. There's a lot of that. There's a lot. I've seen all kinds of musicians, and like what their stage self is versus like when you talk to them
Uh-huh.
when they're not on stage is like night and day most of the time.
Oh, and I got a chance to meet and open for a band that I grew up listening to, saw their videos on MTV and all kinds of stuff back in the day when music videos were actually on MTV,
Yeah,
not today, right?
they had music.
Yeah, exactly, right? I'd be watching Headbangers Ball at night, staying up late thinking I was the cool kid, and I'd be watching these guys on video, and I get a chance to open for them. I was like, "Oh my god, over the moon." They were the meanest. I had the absolute worst
For time.
experience.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, they were like kicking my bass stack, and I had a custom bass stack and
Oh,
sponsored
they're
and all kinds of
knocking
stuff.
into it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And at first it was like, well, how come these guys are on tour, but the contract says they have to use our stuff? But on the other hand, it's also, hey, that's cool because these guys are going to use our stuff, right? That's a cool story to be able to tell. And then they get up there for sound check and they're kicking our stuff and they're calling it garbage and they're spitting on it with chaw. And I was just like, right?
Yes. Some
Never
people,
meet.
yeah, they
Yeah,
never, yeah, then, yeah. Sometimes if you meet your idols, then you wish you didn't meet them.
that's exactly where I was going. It was like, don't ever try to meet your idols, man, because they will disappoint you.
Yeah,
But
they do.
the other guys, I was just like, this is incredible. And you can have a really phenomenal conversation with them. And I would say the same thing goes in business. That taught me in business, that whole adage, don't ever judge a book by the cover.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes you could get intimidated. Like I know I worked in Japan for a couple of years back in 2004,
Oh,
2006. And
man, I want to get there.
I had to spend a bunch of time getting prepped to go there, and I had to take classes. I had a sensei. I had interpreters and translators. My family was
Wow.
there. My daughter was going to school. It wasn't back and forth. I was there as an expat, living in
That,
Roppongi.
that
Like,
would be incredible. I would
near
love that.
Shibuya. It was really cool. But
Yeah.
it was very initially intimidating because like I had to get into the culture. Right. I had to like if I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
get around, I actually like if I want to go to the grocery store, I better learn how to like ask for stuff. If I
Mhm.
want to go around in a taxi, I better
Yeah.
learn how to say how to get home and
Mhm.
how to get to where. So eventually, because you're in there, you're forced to learn
Mhm.
because if you're going to be there for 2 years, then you kind of the human mind will actually figure it out and you
Mhm.
learn how to do it because you're forced into it.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way to learn it because if you're actually there, then you're forced to learn. But in itself, it's like this the business culture. There was this whole idea of like not a zero defect mindset,
Oh.
and we had some we had an American company coming into a Japanese market, and we'd have the home office in America saying, why are they going and looking at every like low level bug and thinking it's like a high level because like they have a zero defect mindset.
Oh, yeah.
And the American guys, we said, well, we can't do that. And I said, well, in this market, when they make a mistake, they call the clients to a convention center and then bow and apologize. Okay.
Seriously?
Yes.
I did not know that. That's
They do stuff
incredible.
like that. And so when you don't, you just send a letter. They don't do that. They
Wow.
apologize to the customers and bring them to a thing and then have a whole session. So it's a different mindset. And so that was the biggest problem was trying to get the American business guys
Uh-huh.
to actually understand the Japanese business guy. I was kind of in
Yeah.
the middle trying to help translate that because that was a big problem where
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I didn't realize
That's a
that
big shift.
the culture difference between the two mindsets, the Western mindset and the Japanese mindset was like, oh, it's very significant.
That's significant. That's a
It's
big
very
difference.
significant.
Yeah. Holy cow. No, but
Yeah,
that
it's
would be
fun. It's all
incredible.
fun living there though, but like it's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, it just teaches you like the just the different culture and just the experience of understanding like how you talk to people. Like you started to learn like in America, a business guy might start a meeting like this. In Japan, you have to kind of like tell people what's going to happen before it
Mhm.
happens. Because if you embarrass them, then you lose face, and then you might not
Oh
get
yeah.
anybody to like align with you. So doing the gotchas
Uh-huh.
doesn't work very well. It's
That doesn't sound like that's a winning scenario.
not going to work.
No. No, no, no. But I mean, that was one of the things that the main thing I would say when I look back, I had fun and I had no idea that I was learning these skills along the way. And I think it was probably about finally 3 or 5 years ago, right around then, like right around COVID-ish, is when I realized, oh, holy cow. That's where I learned to be able to adapt to different communication styles and read the room a little bit differently.
Yeah,
'Cause to your point, right? When you're up on stage, you get that immediate feedback.
yeah,
You're
that
either
you either
on
are
or
off.
you're not. I
It's
mean,
like the
there's no like
comedian. You
3 people
change
clapping is
when the
not a
jokes
good
are
thing.
like dying. The comedian doesn't keep on doing the dying joke.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't just keep if you had a teleprompter and everything you had prepared is not working, you keep on reading off that teleprompter, you're gonna die. Like, you
Exactly.
better, like, look situationally aware that you can't do that
That's a great way to
right now,
put it. Yeah.
you better shift.
Yeah, you got to be able to adapt, man, on the fly. And then afterwards, you're not getting out of that room without somebody greeting you or having some kind of conversation with you. So whether you killed it that night in a great way or you killed it that night because you bombed, whatever that is, you got to still keep that face on. You still got to have your wits about you and be
Mm.
able to have a conversation either about moving on or gracefully bowing out, right? Whatever that's
Yeah,
going to
well,
wind up
it's a
being.
learning experience even when you make a mistake, like, as an artist, like,
Hmm.
you have to make mistakes to get better, right? Right.
Yeah.
You can't not venture into different things if you're not gonna you won't expand your capability if you
Yep.
only stay in the comfort zone,
Right.
right? So in order to get out of the comfort zone, that means you're not gonna hit it 100%. If you never played fusion and you only played bebop, first time you play fusion, you're probably gonna mess it up. Like, are you gonna give up or are you gonna keep on trying?
Right. Oh, I tell you what though. So when I went to the music college, we were right around the corner in downtown Chicago from Buddy Guy's Legends. So we
Mm,
had a vamp class, right, where you're supposed to go in, and I think there was 6 of us, if I remember correctly. And it was a jazz studio where you would have to go in, and they put me on trombone, which uh, but they put me on trombone,
okay.
which is an incredible instrument to be
Yeah,
able to
you
play, but
gotta
just
play
not.
it
It's not like my heart and soul. My heart and soul is bass player. I love
Yeah.
the bass, man. I used to fall asleep playing the bass. My mom would wake me up. Hey, what are you doing? And I'm just to Iron Maiden at the time back in high school. But so all of a sudden, our teacher tells us, hey, pack up. We're heading out. Oh, okay. Where are we going? We're gonna go to Buddy Guy's Legends. We're gonna go vamp over there on stage. And I was like, all right, let me pack this up. I'll grab my bass. Oh no, 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 no.
You're
You're
playing
on
that?
trombone. Yeah.
You like to
So I was
switch
like,
it to see what you can do?
okay. And so we go up there and we get on stage, and there's absolutely nobody in at the time. I was like, okay, I can do this. That's all right. There's nobody here. I can bomb. I can do whatever I want to be able to do. We're here. It's here for the experience. Who walks around the corner? Freaking Buddy Guy. And it was
No pressure.
just,
No
yeah,
pressure.
exactly. And I'm sitting there and I'm side to side, and they're getting ready to cue me up. And all of a sudden I see him walk around the corner and he's doing this, got that jazz face on, right? Like, yeah, you guys are hitting it. And they cue me up, and I'm like, dude, you, I mean, I sweat the whole thing, the intimidation factor sinks in. I have no choice, right? I'm
Mhm.
in front of literally the legend himself.
You gotta do
And
it, yeah.
yeah, I got to do it. So I did like 4 notes over and over, just reverse the order where I knew it was going to follow the chord structure that we were supposed to be going to.
Mm.
And afterwards, he came up, he's like, did all right. You did okay. I thought, I mean, that
Yeah,
was awesome. He gave me a little knock on the arm. I'm like, oh my God, this story for the rest of my life, I'll be able to tell this. And it was incredible.
yeah.
And as soon as I got outside, I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I
Well,
was going to lose
it's a
it.
pressure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
Oh,
always interesting. Like, what I find it is very interesting when you have somebody come off their primary instrument
uh-huh.
and try a different instrument. Because
Hmm.
sometimes, like, I like happy accidents as a producer. I like to kind of
Oh,
put like
yeah.
a guitar player on a synth and a
Uh-huh.
synth player on a guitar and like
Ooh.
putting a horn, like, just because they get the kind of Pete Townsend mindset. Like, Pete Townsend's a guitar player, but the way he approached the synth
Hmm.
is different than the way Keith Emerson did, because Keith Emerson's like, this phenomenal keyboardist.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
he
boy.
came
Yeah.
the way he came at the synth on stuff like Barbara O'Reilly Won't Get Fooled Again, his, like, technique was very dynamic and unexpected,
Hmm.
like, what he came up with, because he wasn't a primary on the instrument. So sometimes when you do that, you can get really interesting things to happen,
Yep.
and I like to have those interesting things happen, because
Yep.
that's where you make progress. Instead of doing what you know, let's
Right.
try to go into unexpected and unknown.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, that creativity winds up coming out. And like you said, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. That could work.
Yeah.
That does
Happy
work.
accident.
Let's build on that. Yeah, the happy accident. I love that. The happy accident comes out of it. And to me, I stepped out of playing. We had a couple of unfortunate happenstances. We finally got the deal, got torn up in our face. That wasn't a fun day, kind of thing. And I was going to be a dad. And I said, you know what? That's it. That is life trying to tell me that you've done what you can do. You
Mhm,
had a lot of fun. You had some great memories, but you're going to be a dad. And to me, that was always going to be the greatest privilege of my life. It was going to
mhm.
be a dad, and I wanted to be the greatest dad ever. I wanted to be a legend.
Peter Pariah.
So I said, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I had my fun. I had my ride. I got some stories. This was great. I'm going to be a dad. And technology was always there for me. And now my son, I try to keep he is an absolute beast, esports beast, like nobody's business. I can barely play checkers with him or keep up with him with virtual Monopoly because the hand eye is just incredible. But his critical thinking skills and he's super proud of him. He's getting ready to go to college, so he'll be leaving at the end of the summer.
Mhm.
He's honors program and absolutely incredible. He is me 2.0, no doubt. He's left me in the dust. But being able to leverage technology and adapt to it and seeing all these different things and the evolution of it helped me coach him up. Right.
Yeah, because you
And
can't be afraid of it. Because there's a whole group of
no.
people that are like, I understand when there's something new,
Hmm.
right? And there's something maybe should be regulated and it's not. I understand that, because
Yep.
I was a liberal arts major, like political science and sociology. I understand consequences of
Ooh,
societal situations. Like, they have to have some kind of framework.
right.
There's a reason why we have frameworks.
Hmm.
But tech has always been an issue. I mean, even as a guy that likes electronic instruments,
Yeah.
the purist back in the day in the 50s,
Hmm.
when Robert Moog came up with the Moog, there's all these people from the, the high end, uh, you know, high end, be like, I don't know, like the people who go into the highly disciplined musicians, classical musicians.
Hmm.
He said that's not an instrument, that's a machine. Right,
Uh,
the first Mogs, and highly critical, said they wanted to ban them. They decided these things are terrible.
mhm.
And the fact is like, like Sun Ra, one of the greatest jazz musicians ever, he got one of the first Mogs and started to use it and proved that, like, you can use this in a very expressive, like, art form like jazz, you know,
Ah,
and he was able to prove that, like, it is an instrument.
mhm.
Right, and then Keith Emerson went again, he proved it was an instrument. Bunch of these guys, the guys from Yes, they
Oh, yeah.
all proved that you can use it even though it was a machine. So even with AI, like, if I've been playing with AI to do generative music against some of my oscillators, my analog oscillators, and having be triggers. So you
Wow.
can use, like, tech, it can always be used. Depends on, like, you're Rudy, you got 20,000 hours, 100,000 hours as a musician.
Uh-huh.
You can take, like, a pedal. You can take, like, a DX7, you can take a D50, you can take any kind of high-tech thing and then still have artistic integrity behind it.
Yes.
and actually use it
100%.
as a tool. So like you don't have to ban everything. Why don't you just look at how you could use it, right? And don't
Mhm.
you know, I understand if you have 100% of it was created by it, then whatever, that's kind of cheesy. But
Yeah,
but if you want to actually like help it like create your help in your process, help in your workflow,
right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's when
No.
you have it write the whole thing. That's the problem.
Yes, 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 yes. That's part of my beef with 80s music. There was way too much electronics, and where was the people that
Yeah,
was
you
in
need
it,
to
right?
write it. Stevie Wonder was into electronic music, but he wrote
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there are definitely exceptions, but there are definitely bands where it's like,
Too
dude,
much.
no.
Too much
Yeah.
sequencer, not enough on the keys. You know,
Exactly.
if you're not
What was
Bernie
it, Milli
Worrell,
Vanilli back in the
like
day? I mean,
what think
wasn't
about
even
like
that.
Bernie, yeah, Milli Vanilli, they were all like it's all sequenced, all like. But you think about like a Bernie Worrell and Funkadelic,
Yeah.
master keyboardist, using all the
Cool.
modes, all this, totally using electronics, but having like classically trained,
Uh,
came up with all these funk riffs that hip hop is using over and over again,
mhm.
sampling them. But
Yeah.
like he came up with those along with Bootsy and the rest of them. But like,
You're
so you
throwing
can
all this
use,
at me, man. Woo.
yeah, you can use all that tech, but
Yes.
if you're an artist, you can use it really well.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that you're right. That's the creativity, and that's the complementary to the person, right? The
Yeah,
person is the root of it, the start of it. This is a complementary piece to be able to help you take it, like you said early on, next level,
yeah,
right? It can
AI
complement
is
you.
the
You
next
can
level.
learn from it. You can get greater ideas from it if it's used and set up responsibly and correctly.
Yeah, because AI, like the cool thing, like they're using it to create, biochemistry and and creating like new cures and stuff because it can run and like let's say you have all these permutations of viruses
Hmm.
and you run AI through it to try to do what humans can't do, right? Well, run through all the permutations, give me all the possible scenarios, run through them faster than I can.
Hmm.
Give me all the answers. It would have took me like what 5 years to do it,
Hmm.
but then you have all this all this compute, where then suddenly, like if we got all these strains of a virus, now
Hmm.
you can have a super vaccine that actually takes care of all the strains because the computer went through all the scenarios and figured something out that would have took you too long, right? So that
Yes. The only thing that I will say is it will run those different scenarios to be able to run. Well, it's going to use the algorithm to run the scenarios and give you the possibilities, right? The skill set for the human is recognizing where the miss is, if there was a miss, but also running a different angle
yeah,
on what the computer is producing and having the skill to be able to and the knowledge to be able to apply it and recognize it, ask the right question to challenge the answer so that you can get to the real solution at the end of the
yeah,
rainbow.
the human
Right
beings,
there.
like the PhD, the doctor,
Uh-huh.
they're still going to be the guy that makes the final decision.
Yeah,
They're just
it's
going to
got to
have
be.
all this. They're going to have all this compute to help them. But the
Right.
compute's not making the final decision. The human
Correct.
being in the loop with the PhD with the credentials,
Yep.
the engineer with the credentials,
Right.
Carnegie Mellon guy,
Yeah.
he's gonna do it. The MIT guy's gonna do it. Those guys
Exactly.
are gonna do it. Right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But that's, I mean, you could scale that's like a super case, right? And it does happen. Obviously, that's a super case. But you take most business leaders in the SMB space, and it's the same type of principle. Like if we're trying to just improve our customer service, great. We're going to be able to deliver better customer service, or maybe we can do it after hours where we didn't have the capacity to do it before. And you notify the client or the clients that are reaching out to you that, hey, this is, I don't know, Stella, our AI assistant that can help you, da, 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 da. And then during business hours, if we need to follow up, we'll follow up with you and we'll have one of our agents reach out, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have that complementary piece before, so you couldn't do it. So who knows how much business you were losing previously?
Yeah, I guess the problem would be if all you have is Stella and there's no human, then you might lose people.
Uh, and organizations are trying to do that kind of thing already, and it's not going very well. I
No,
will
because
tell
I
you.
think that's always the thing back in the day when they used to have like, the voice systems that,
Oh,
people thought that was like high tech. Well, I guess it was, but like it would go through all these branches And then people would get like, I'm lost in the branches. Like I'm lost in like I can't
Yeah,
get to a person.
yeah.
It's not giving me where I need to go. I keep on going back to 7, then I go back to 5, and I go back to 2, and then make me go back to 1. I gotta do it all over
I
again.
still run into that. I still run into that, and I got to hang up and I got to start all over again because they
Just
don't
hit
have a way to
0
be able
on
to
to
go
get to the
back.
person, like 0 doesn't work.
Those drive me crazy. That, or you just sit there repetitively going, customer service, customer
Customer
service.
service until it finally kicks in. Yeah.
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 Or so I've had a few where that doesn't even work. You have to say agent.
Agent to get in.
Agent to get in, which is funny because I'm talking to an AI agent, but the
You
AI
can't send me
agent
to another one?
yeah.
Maybe send me to another one.
Oh, you want the real agent? Oh,
Yeah, I
I
don't want
got it.
that. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
want
gonna
the
get you
AI
that
agent.
one. Yeah, you don't want customer service. You want my big boy agent. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Just let me talk to somebody, right? So
Mhm.
that's just another fun use case. I had fun with the whole music thing, man. That was
Well, it's always all fun, but, like, cybersecurity, like, is so important because, you know, out there in the world of hackers, they're always trying to find the next way to blow things up, like, or to get into
yeah,
something, right? They're always trying to figure out a way, like, well, we can blow through all your encryption now.
yes,
We can blow through all your, like, all your extra, like, identification capabilities you've been using. Now
yeah.
this tech, it can run through all of it and still get into it.
Yep. MFA is no longer the solid deterrent that it was, say, a year ago, year
Because
and a
they
half ago.
compute, right? Because they compute, can they these guys can figure out how to use the compute and get around it.
Well, yeah, and what they wind up doing is they wind up pounding for the most part. They'll pound your MFA, so you keep getting all these notifications, and you don't know why you're getting these notifications to authenticate your MFA, and you keep going no, 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 and you finally just give up, and you're like, whatever, just go away, and boom,
Breaks
they're
through.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they wind up breaking in. And it's all AI driven on the back end to be able to automate that through that kind of process that quickly. And that, to your point, cybersecurity has got to continue to evolve to the layered security and the layered standards. When you have organizations that are trying to shortcut it or not really implement fully all the way across their 7 main layers, if you're not going to go across the 7 main layers, you're going to create a gap. AI is going to find that
Incidents.
gap,
Incidents.
and
Yeah,
boom, they're going to be in, right?
yeah, but the thing is, like, in your business, like, you teach with, like, the clients, like, the cost of an incident, right? Versus, like, you being cheap because you don't wanna spend it, right? And then
Yeah.
what is the cost of an incident if they
Uh-huh.
break through versus you actually paying for the level of security that you need.
Right. I still have the conversations where people are like, so tell me how much it's going to cost. I'm like, it's about protecting your organization, right? It's the
Mhm.
liability, it's the legacy that's there. It's not Brian trying to pump up a cost or try to get more revenue out of you. It's, do we have cultural alignment? Because when you're asking me that question, we don't have cultural alignment. Right. I mean, there just isn't. And are you going to be invited into the strategy conversations to have those conversations about we're going to do this acquisition? We need to take a look at that infrastructure. We got to marry it up to our existing infrastructure. What's it going to cost? How are we going to do it? What's the timeline to be able to get there? And by the way, if we have compliancy needs, how do we make sure that these things are going to wind up marrying up? Right. How do we do that? How do we coach the people? How do we bring them in? You're not going to get invited into that room, into those conversations when the concern is, so how much is this going to cost? I need you to give me 10% off. Yeah. You know what? I'm out.
You're not
I'm
gonna do
out.
it. Yeah, you don't wanna
No,
do it.
no. And you're probably going to be the one getting acquired rather than doing the acquiring down the road because something bad happened. So let's not waste either one of our time any further. Or there's a nicer way to be able to say it, I guess. I
Yeah,
will respectfully bow out and provide another organization the opportunity to work with you. How
but
about
it
that?
seems like in this world, there must be a lot of work.
There's a lot of work. There's no shortage of work. But I will say, I live in Indiana, and we've been very fortunate. You see some of the awards that we've been getting lately
Mhm,
over around my screen. But in Indiana, it's very relationship driven.
mhm.
In the Midwest, right? The Midwest is very relationship driven, which we really appreciate. But that also means that for the most part, when you prove that are able to deliver on what you say you're going to do, you get invited into those conversations. And then when you continue to provide and you continue to deliver and they see you as that strategic partner that you set out for in the beginning, then you have something special, right? You got long-term relationships that wind up getting developed. Your organization grows. You start getting these things to be able to put on graphics and
Yeah,
whatnot.
and I mean, it's like my father was an insurance agent for like a big insurance company, but like he built relationships. So
Yeah.
he had like the father, he's got the son, he's got the son's wife, and then her friends, and then her nephews and nieces. Like it built this big like web of
Hmm.
all through reputation and trust
Yeah.
and word of mouth and just showing up
Right.
and asking people how are they, right? Maybe
Yeah.
not even selling anything one time, just having a conversation at a coffee shop, not doing a forced sell,
Yeah.
like every time. It's like being able to actually tell stories and actually be a like person that say, hey, I'd like to hang out with that guy, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
once you build that kind of like face to face, I mean, I'm from the Northeast, I'm from like Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine,
Yeah.
but it's the same. Like people like it when you walk, if you go into Maine and you walk into like the local diner
Hmm.
and you know people, like you can sell to the people you know.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times it winds up coming, at least in my industry and here in Indiana and some of the surrounding markets, when you walk in and they know that you can deliver and that they don't have to feel on guard like you're trying to sell them anything, you're there to be a strategic partner. You want to
Mhm.
see them be successful, right? Like I talked about earlier, service before self, right? I'm part of the Rotary out here, and that's part of the motto, right? For the Rotary International, it's service before self, service above self. And so I walk that out. And that's part of the reason that Rotary fits me really well,
Yeah,
is
that's cool.
because that's just my mindset. And business leaders recognize that. And when you are able to deliver and you walk that out consistently, the
Yeah, I
guard goes
can't be
down, the conversations happen, right? And then you're delivering the results, you're helping their organization be successful and helping it grow. That's one less thing they have to worry about. And if they have a challenge, they pick up the phone and they're like, hey, Brian, I got to bounce an idea off you. Yeah, what's going on, Chris? How can I help out? Right. And they know it's genuine. I'm not looking for an angle to try to be able to provide them with something. I'm there to listen. And if they need me, they let me know. And
that's
then
interesting.
let's
Yeah.
build it.
Because listening, I think, is a big thing today. Because like a lot of times people go into a conversation and they're trying to like they're not really listening. They're
Hmm.
kind of like pitching whatever they're pitching.
Yeah.
And most of what you know, people have a filter. Like,
Right.
and as soon as they hear a certain thing, it makes their mind go a certain way,
Hmm.
the way they're more comfortable with going. If
Hmm.
you don't go ask somebody like, "What did you think I said?" Well, how did you actually hear that? But if you just keep on going, you're trying to win, or you're
Hmm.
trying to be like the guy that's like got the brilliant thing to say, you're more concerned about how it sounds
Hmm.
than what it really means.
Yep.
You're not
Yep.
gonna really win.
Well, yeah. No. And you miss a learning opportunity. It's always a learning opportunity, right? Every situation you can look back and go, wow, I shouldn't have done that. I could have done this, right? Every conversation. So I prefer to listen. And if they say, Brian, tell me what you think. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what I think, right? I'm not going to filter it. I'm not going to slant it. Here's the facts. Here's my thoughts. This is what I think works for you guys. But ultimately, it's your organization, it's your team. I'm the guy on the outside. I'm just trying to help provide an impartial opportunity. You tell me, hey, that's not going to, I don't think that's going to work, Brian. Okay, that's fine. You had an educated decision. You got to make an educated choice for your organization. And it may come back around where they're going to be like, hey, Brian, you know that thing we talked about 6 months ago? I think we need to do that now.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. You guys weren't ready for it then, but you're ready for it now. So let's walk it forward. Let's put the pieces together, make it
It's
happen.
cool to keep the door open. I mean, that's kind of what are some key lessons learned? Can we kind of winding down the episode? But I
Mhm.
always ask a couple questions about like key lessons learned in your business. If there were like 3 key lessons that you learned over the years, how would you relay those?
One that we've been just talking about, listen, right? Don't try to tell anybody or try to be the expert on all things. I always like to walk in and say, look, I don't know everything, but I got a great team that works alongside me, that if I don't know the answer, I'm going to bring them in, because one of them is going to be the expert. I'm the facilitator. Let's bring the right people with the right team in the room to have the right conversation, right? To be able to get to the business result you're trying to be able to get to. So don't always try to be the know-it-all. Listen more than you speak, I would say, is going to be the thing. And realize that education never stops, especially in this industry. You cannot sit here and tell me that what you did 10 years ago is still the way to do it today.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
is not. So always be humble and learn.
That's the one thing you learn, you know. Like I've been, like I said, doing this stuff till since the '90s, and you know, it was all mainframe. Get on with the insurance companies. Some of those guys still have mainframes. But but
Wow.
yeah, they do. Yeah, they're starting to learn, but it took a while. But
just, just a little bit.
you know, it's hard. I just think it's fantastic that we had this really wide open discussion. We even got to talk about your base plan. We do have the QR code for your URL there. It's the same one.
Mhm.
That's for Proxurve on the bottom there, and we also have your LinkedIn. Those will be fully clickable. But if people take their phone and take a scan of that QR code, and if they go to your website, what do they find?
Well, if they go to proxurve.com, they're going to wind up finding out about our organization. So, our team, how we approach business leadership and technology alignment, and AI strategies as well.
That's awesome. So we do encourage people to check that out. Use the QR code or use the links. We have been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. We'll be on all the major podcast platforms where you can listen to or watch a podcast. At the end of the day tomorrow. But I want to thank you for being a guest on the Family Electric Goes podcast. And I do encourage people to check out the services that you have, the proxurve.com. And I want to thank you for being on the show again.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time and the opportunity. I had fun, man. If you ever want to do it again, just let me know. I'm in.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to have something you want to tell the customers about, you got a new process or new services you want to talk about in the future. We have people come back when they want to show the world what they're doing. So if
Yeah.
you want to do that, let me know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. You got it.
Thank you.